introducing a comrade, a member of SATAWU in good standing. And I'll tell you why. I'm also introducing a former member of POP in good standing, a revolutionary, a comrade who dies where workers dies. Let me tell you, comrade. When Comrade SG of ANC, he was a minister of police. He worked very close with POP. He then became a minister of transport. It is through this comrade that SATAWU have managed to save the work, the jobs of what is this company? I will recall the name of the company, just too excited. Under Plaza Comrade, when it was not popular for a minister to take a class interest decision, it is this comrade who said, Plaza must insource autopets. When the business raised to have spoken and saying the autopets is unsavable, they don't have buses. Through the engagement with this comrade SG of the ANC, we save those workers. As and when we are able, thank you very much. And there's a lot that we have achieved. There's a lot. That's why I'm saying he's a member of SATAWU in good standing. As comrade, when it's difficult, we call him. He comes to our offices. He sits down with us. We know today we are angry about GNU. But the reason why I'm singing these two songs, I want to remind you, we are Africans. When we are confronted with challenges, we remember our ancestors. For us to have power and wisdom. So, comrade, I'm pleading with the National Conference of SATAWU. We don't see any. We see one of our own. I'm introducing Comrade SG of ANC, Comrade Fikile Mbalula.
Amanda, qina msebenzi qina. An injury to one, an injury to one, an injury to all. Thank you very much, President of SATAWU, Comrade Ntutuzelo Mhlubulwa, General Secretary of SATAWU, Comrade Jack Mazibuko, Deputy General Secretary of COSATU, National Office Bearers of SATAWU, members of the Tripartite Alliance, SANCO, and the South African Communist Party in absentia, members of the Central Executive Committee, distinguished guests, delegates, comrades and compatriots. We are honored by your invitation, comrades, to address this 6th Congress of the South African Transport Union, SATAWU, whose members are at the coalface of the transport sector in the country. A sector that makes the wheels of the economy to turn. During its 112 years of existence, the African National Congress was able to develop a long historical relationship with progressive trade unions in South Africa. The ANC's work among trade unions is guided by its strategy and tactics, which identifies the working class as the primary motive force of the national democratic revolution. Organized workers in trade unions who are politically conscious workers constitute a key detachment of the working class. According to SATAWU and later COSATU, became a strategic ally of the ANC, born out of this collective theorization of the role and place of the workers in the national democratic revolution. Comrades, the progressive trade union movement has therefore been a key component of the mass democratic movement. Many union leaders and members made supreme sacrifices for the freedom and rights enjoyed by the many workers today. Many were in jail, some were murdered, and others joined the movement in exile. Comrades, among the key resolutions of the 55th National Conference of the ANC was the need to renew, reinvigorate, and galvanize the alliance and the broad progressive forces beyond the agenda to defend the democratic gains and advance the transformation agenda in our country, while simultaneously pushing forward the African agenda and advocating for a more inclusive, equitable, and just system of global governance. Conference made a specific call when it said, I quote, "The democratic renewal of our country and the transformation of our society and economy is a strategic goal from which the ANC will not retreat. As our country undergoes significant macro-social change and the world experiences multiple disruptive transitions, the ANC and progressive forces need to reinvigorate a vision of what it means to be progressive in the 21st century. With respect to strategy and tactics, policy and methods of organization, placing the well-being of the people and the planet at the center of our political life. But as a tactic, it was this which informed the ANC's approach to the strategic setback faced by the National Democratic Revolution with the 2024 national and provincial election results, to seize both the tactical and strategic initiative in order to defend the gains of freedom and create space to advance transformation and democratic renewal. Thus, comrades, the government of national unity, not as an end, we see it not as an end in itself, but as a tactic to regroup, claw back, and advance a better life for the people. I'm going to talk about this in detail so that we understand each other, because I think we may go astray and abandon the revolution on wrong information. And we must, when we take decisions, advance informed by the correct interpretation of where we are and why certain decisions were taken. The outcome, comrades, of the May 2024 general elections plunged the movement as a whole into uncharted waters, uncharted waters. Having received 40% of the vote, the ANC-NEC characterized the outcome of the 2024 elections as a strategic setback for the National Democratic Revolution. This characterization, comrades, of the electoral setback implies that it has strategic implications and far-reaching consequences on the conduct of struggle, both in terms of how we govern the affairs of the organization and how we govern the affairs of the country. 6 million people voted for us, and in a low voter turnout. As the party, comrades, with the largest votes, we shape the narrative about the need for political parties to work together in setting up an inclusive, viable, and stable government that will address the people's needs and advance the transformation agenda. Central to this are the interests of the workers, and most importantly, the masses of the people whom we collectively serve. In its first post-election meeting, the NEC had extensive discussions on various options on how to form government. The discussions, comrades, were guided by the strategic framework on coalitions adopted by the NEC April 2023 and a report of the National Working Committee. The 4 options that we explored are as follows. You did not have an option in which you could constitute government on your own. You've got the largest vote, but that vote does not give you the right to govern overwhelmingly. When you've got 50% and above, it's what we call outright majority. When we're campaigning with SATAWU, we were fighting not to be in this position. We were fighting to govern and govern alone, without unkinkishel, without rikupa, nokungazelana, this clause. We wanted to govern without asking anybody whether today we can work together or not, and tomorrow they will not. And coalitions, comrades, in their very definition, are not constituted by like-minded. They are constituted even by reactionary forces. The definition of GNUs and coalitions in their very nature are constituted by arch-rivals politically. And therefore, you've got to be clear in terms of differentiation between strategy and tactic. Coalitions, when you get into, it's a tactical maneuver, not a strategic goal. The strategic goal is to secure political power. And I agree with the DGS of COSATU. We don't like the DA, we hate them. Parts in the DA parts. Asifuni DA, Nina, you go further, anibafuno ngo. Goba ngamadagusha. And ANC ngukalele bhayini. Ithi xa ithetha ngestrategy and tactics, ithi our engagement with capital is unity and struggle of the opposite. ANC, not Communist Party or COSATU, ANC. That's why the ANC lead the National Democratic Revolution. Comrades, there were 4 options that we explored. The first one was going into opposition. Our strategy and tactics document informs us that state power is crucial for the execution of the NDR. Without state power, comrades, it is not possible to transform society fundamentally. And in order to meet the people's needs and fulfill the aspirations of the motive forces, if the ANC chooses to go into opposition, there will be difficulties in forming a viable, stable and coherent government, and our country will descend into instability and total dysfunction, currently showing its ugly face in some municipalities. Going into opposition, comrades, will be of no benefit to society. Accordingly, the NEC decided against this. Otherwise, you can't go into opposition with 6 million votes. You will be the biggest opposition party and the most stupid decision. But those who wanted to constitute a GNU without the ANC, they could not. Even those who came to the party, they did not have an option. If the ANC did not have 6 million people and the 40%, they realized with their moonshoot pack and everything, and even EFF, they realized that after the elections, we cannot move without these people. That's why when we went to negotiate, we did not negotiate with the cap in the hand. Besingabacengi, bebecenga thina. UFloyd weza ngabo bhanqa bakhe bokuthi masibhale ndathi jonga uziphinda lanto ubuyenza kwi local government. Sakubetha udwanguze kwedini. We're not going to back you here. Baza bethetha into engavakaliyo beluma bevuthela. Bathi kuthi iEFF through Floyd lo hambileyo. Uyabona abantu abanganamva nomphambili. Ngabaya nandaniphume etrongweni ndiyabaza abantu bebesithi ama-comrade zimpimpi kuqala. Umuntu othe ejikeleza nje athi sell out yo umthengisi wokuqala lo. Ama-comrade afa zimpimpi zinuka ama-comrade phakathi kwethu. UFloyd was the most revolutionary person in the EFF. Ethuka uZuma, correctly so. But today, lanqa kuva leyigazi ihambile epha kuZuma. Uthi masimmamele. Uthi today masimmamele. Joining Zuma is the most viable option. Zuma can't be a viable option. I'll tell you. Politically, yeka ukuthi usithengisile. Wahamba washiya umbutho. It cannot be a viable option. Le EFF yahamba. Yati no, be with us. You are a dying party. It's better that you die in our hands. Sathi hambe yochaya Floyd. Awuthetha into enengqondo. Wathi xa kajikele ekoneni wayefuna izinto. Wathi no sifuna uDeputy President. Sifuna finance. Sathi asikakafika apha. Masivumelane ngeperspective. Into yokuqala niyayivuma iconstitutionalism. Akakwazi ugqitha. Because abana ideology neperspective. Thina comrades ideology yethu ku-ANC yi-NDR. That is why as the ANC our ideology is we are a democratic revolutionary party. Xa uthandayo ke ungathi we are social democrats. But we are not that. We are a revolutionary democratic party. We are leading a national democratic revolution, of which the national democratic revolution primarily is about the resolution of the national question. It's a recognition that in this country, we are trapped with the colonized and the colonizer in the same territory. That's where we begin. It recognizes the fact that the primary contradiction is the national question, class and gender, fighting gender patriarchy. That's what the NDR is about. That's why we talk about a non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, prosperous society as a strategic objective of the NDR. But primarily, also, in terms of its motive forces, the working class is the key driver of this revolution. Organized and unorganized. Here in COSATU, we maintain the hegemony of Congress politics. And that is why we have defeated all tendencies. But it does not mean COSATU one day will fall in the hands, as it has been contested, of the ultra-left and all of that. You have embraced, right from the beginning, in '83, the Freedom Charter, and adopted the NTR, and that is why from SATAWU to COSATU, we became one, up until today. IGG, Lord. It is not formed in a classroom. What decide abantu, but we are phenon, we are what. It is informed by the nature of our revolution. What is the nature of the struggle we are pursuing? In that struggle, we are independent organization. Nobody stops Communist Party to advocate and fight for socialism, even now. And then who says SACP must not fight for a class struggle? Nobody. Comrades, the second option was a grand coalition. A grand coalition is formed with one or two bigger parties that have substantial electoral support. 4 bigger parties are DA, MKP, EFF, and the IFP. All these 4 parties preferred an exclusive grand coalition with the ANC. We met with the EFF. We met with MK, all political parties in parliament. When we met with the DA, they said to us, they don't want they don't want a GNU. They want an arrangement between us. And then 2, they said that the red liner to them, we must not talk to the EFF, MK, and PA and other parties. We said pack and go. We told Helen Zille, Nancy Cameron Tongi, we told them that you can pack and go, this is off. We did not negotiate with everybody with a cap in the hand because our majority, in terms of largest numbers, was significant. And then they said, okay, fine. We then talked to MK Party. He was speaking, Lata Tabesulai, Umbilo, SCT pool, swimming pool, fire pool. Ithetha nditsho loo nto kwathiwa ndiyaxoka. But ebeyitsho apha eTV, erana igenerator, ndandiqala ubona. Kuthiwa i-swimming pool iyatshintsha ngelinye ixesha ifaka igenerator ibe yi-fire pool. uZuma wayethumela chem izothetha nathi nabanye abantu because uZuma mosingumuntu ongananyana. Safuna uthetha naye kudala nalento asenzele yona lenka ungenja ayibiza ngokuthi ngumkhonto wesizwe wayigqiba kudala lanto. Zafika pha zathi no asifuna upresident. Zathetha into engavakaliyo. Saye siyazi ukuthi uZuma ufuna ubuyisa abantu be-state capture. Azosiluma ngabo if there is a possibility. And yenzakele phambi kwamehlo wenu, it happened in your eyes. He brought all of them. In his own party, wagxotha abantu bebesebenza, wabalanda bebehleli, wabafuka eparlament. Saye siyazi loo nto, but sathetha naye. Yakolapsa into yethu because eyenza idemand zakhe bezenza. Because, comrades, we said to them, GNU, Genan, Sizanifak, GNU. I will come to the GNU. And then we say all these parties then preferred an exclusive arrangement, which is called a grand coalition. One party or two. We said, no, we're not agreeing. Let's all go to GNU. Abafuna ungena ku GNU. EDA yangena ku GNU. And all other political parties. DA itself had conditions that we want our own arrangement. We said, no, we don't agree with that. It's a terrain of struggle. You come and we bring others. Here in this GNU, comrades, we gave PAC the biggest ministry with one portfolio. If they came, we would have negotiated seats and give it to them. Because we've got no exclusive right to govern on our own. We moved from there. Another option we considered was a minority government. A minority government, comrades, is often the easiest and most attractive option, but it has got ramifications. Minority government means you've got a government with all the ministries, but in parliament, you've got political parties that are keeping you in check without you participating. And you become a minority. So there's no balance of power in the minority government. Lanto itlake upanyaza pha eGauteng. Mane nixelele intsomi apha ukuthi no uyibambile. Akho kuyibamba nix. Izawuqhabalaka lanto with time. And then no ndinixelele inyani nithanda ningayithandi. I-government of national unity. Nakuyo ndiyeza. Ndiyeza kuyo nayo. A government of national unity, comrades. This is a type of government that brings parties together in pursuit of matters of national interest, resolving national conflict or national crisis at a given moment, even if such parties have policy and ideological differences. Now, let me come to minority government that we have constituted in Gauteng. In Gauteng, we agreed with all these political parties that we're going for GNU. What happened is that the DA made demands in terms of the constituting of the executive. And we did not agree with that. I was leading those negotiations. I went to the officials, I reported, I met with Zille. We brought our two teams together, provincial and national. DA agreed to GNU, they agreed to elect the premier, who's the premier of the ANC. We agreed to give them the speaker. We had a DA speaker. When we moved to the executive, they then had a query that Panyaza, as our premier, is counted as part of the executive. We said no, it's not. The executive, it means we will go with this particular number and then you'll have this number. And then they did not agree. So we met with them. We postponed in Gauteng negotiations and the constituting of government 3 times. The 4th time, after the officials, they said, go ahead. And then we told the DA will go without you to constitute a minority government. So there is no ideological posture that somebody divided and constituted a government without the DA. It is because the DA deadlocked and we told them they can go. Even at national level, when the DA wanted 13 ministries, we said no. You know the letter that the president wrote to the DA. And they say today the president had an arrangement, which is again factually incorrect. We told the DA, we will go ahead without you. They came. And that letter the president wrote to them was publicized. The same as Gauteng. So I'm actually raising the point that there is no conscious effort on other part that comrades decided they will go without the DA. The DA excluded itself and we went ahead. The same as at national level, EFF and the Jacob Zuma party excluded themselves when we talk about the government of national unity, which is the option that we went with. We put the option to all political parties when it was agreed that we go with the government of national unity. Bazikupa yokulo option. 10 political parties agreed to participate in the GNU. So comrades have explained Grand Coalition, minority government and all of that, what it means. All in all, you can characterize GNU as a coalition of political parties. We got bogged down on the terminology that GNU or multi-party, we said we go with government of national unity. Now let me come to the COSATU engagement and the SACP. We engaged with COSATU. And COSATU was very clear. Comrades, we see the dangers that we are in. We are worried in the GNU that about the DA, because the DA is anti-transformation. We said yes, GNU is a terrain. It can only be us who give them the keys to undermine the transformation and worker rights. We're conscious of that. What do we do with the 40% to safeguard power? COSATU was very fair to us. They were very clear. But we equally showed them that GNU is a tactical maneuver, not a strategic goal. As Bopelalanga opposite is Yofa. And the only way to get out of GNU is to mobilize our people never to be in this position again. But we will use our majority in the GNU to defend the gains of the revolution. That's why, comrades, you have got the right to remind us all the time. Don't sell us out on NHI, on Bella Bill. You've got the right to do that. Who is going to fold their arms when the revolution is being sold out? You can't. COSATU was very clear when we engaged with COSATU. Communist Party, we met with them. We briefed them. They said, no, we are fine with the GNU comrades, but do everything to safeguard power. That's what Soli said to us in our meeting. Yes, safeguard power. Safeguard power means you can safeguard power through GNU, you can safeguard power through minority government, you can safeguard power through Grand Coalition. And that is what safeguarding power with the 40% means. Do everything to safeguard power, and that is what we did. We safeguarded power through a government of national unity, and at the same time, we still safeguarding power even today. And that is what is important. Comrades, show me tactically, where is the fault when we are fighting to remain in power forever and to be a majority. And when you are faced with a setback, you safeguard power in the way you have actually done. The only issue comrades are raising today, including yourself, is the DA participating in the GNU. Because you know what the DA represent. We don't love GNU. Maybe you think we love it. We don't. Asifuni. We are in this situation because of the outcome of the election. We will not have gone to talk about Grand Coalition and GNUs if we were in power. If we were in power, we got 50% and we resorted to a GNU, that will be a sellout position. Why nithengisa ngamandla sininingile no form GNU or Grand Coalition when you are in power? We did not have outright majority. Even when you look at it in any direction. And comrades, I still want to engage. Ideologically, we engage. Uguti, what constitutes progressive ideals and a left position? Because what is before us, the DGS of COSATU have raised, is that we are faced with ethno, narrow, nationalism, and populism. That's what is before us. That's what we are confronted with. How do you characterize Zuma as left when even the constitution he has publicized, it's all about himself? Cult. How does that constitute left? Umtu oti when he comes into power, yovalela mantombazana pregnant wonke Robben Island. What is left about that? What is left about that? The populism, comrades, of the EFF is falling apart right in front of our eyes. Why Singaibon is falling apart right in front of our eyes. Julius, he can speak as much as he can, but that thing is falling apart. It has reached a saturation point. In this last election, in KZN alone, they got 2 seats from many seats that they actually had. ANC have got an opportunity to come back. So, comrades, the argument that a tripartite grand coalition between the ANC, MKP, and EFF will have been more strategic to best serve the interest of the poor, working class in the country is tempting, but lacks ideological rigor. It is tempting, comrades, because all 3 parties collectively account for 64% of the total votes during the 2024 general elections, and that both MKP and EFF are offshoots of the ANC. Because of their origins, there is policy proximity to the ANC. That's the argument. However, the argument for a tripartite grand coalition is to a great degree premised on fallacious assumption that there is homogeneity in the ranks of quote-unquote self-proclaimed left formations in the country. The last few days have seen an intense ego-driven, low-intensity war of words between the EFF and MKP. This warfare, comrades, is very likely to escalate, taking into cognizance the disruptive propensity of the characters involved. In its endeavor to position itself as a major quote-unquote left-aligned opposition party, the MKP is ruthlessly cannibalizing the EFF. MKP sees the EFF as a lunch snack in achieving their objectives. And they are intensifying the drive to liquidate the EFF. It has been said in public that they have an agreement to liquidate the EFF. In its response, the EFF declares war and characterizes the MKP, quote-unquote, as their enemy number 1. In all of this, comrades, where is the Pan-Africanist agenda? The socialist revolutionary instinct And most importantly, where is the poor working class they profess to represent? Strident and empty revolutionary rhetoric has an incredibly short life with no concrete results. GNU, comrades, does not come close to a perfect solution. Never. To the contemporary socio-economic challenges confronting the country. That's why we talk about a setback. In the establishment of the GNU, the ANC only derives vigor from the fact that the GNU is a site of struggle. Hence our uncompromising attitude for full implementation. I want to tell you, comrades, for full implementation of the Bella Act, NHI, Black Economic Empowerment legislation, etc., and the protection of worker rights. The ANC is in the GNU to further prosecute the National Democratic Revolution in less favorable conditions, which are largely due to our own self-sabotaging tendencies. With all these seemingly intractable challenges, comrades, it would have been very reckless to subject the country to an egocentric, misdirected, left-wing populist wave piloted by both the EFF and MKP. That much avowed tripartite grand coalition of the left-aligned forces would have been in turmoil and great danger now with this negative propulsion between EFF and MKP. The GNU, comrades, is not the best option, but the most viable one for now, than an amorphous mess and misdirected conglomeration, quote-unquote, of self-proclaimed left formations. And we can't subject ourselves to that. We respect, comrades, the interest of COSATU, as I conclude, and the workers when they raise the issues that they raise. As we engage with you as SATAWU and other COSATU affiliates, we need to give you an opportunity to share with us your own experience in the general state of the labor movement and the dynamics of each sector and industry, so that we can respond collectively to defend and advance a progressive agenda across the country. The ANC leadership is unequivocal in its commitment to strengthen COSATU as the leader of the progressive trade unionism. Comrade GS and the president of SATAWU, to us, there is no union other than COSATU. We were very, very much alive and worried when COSATU NUMSA was going on its own out of COSATU. Even SATAWU, where it is challenged in the factory floor, we are for SATAWU. It is not for me and my own self-praise that I chose to work with SATAWU. It's because of strengthening COSATU is the call of our tripartite alliance. And comrades, you don't have to feel shy to raise sharp with us when we think that certain things are going astray, ideologically and otherwise. You don't. And you feel that, no, and the only problem is when you resolve to solutions that are debilitating, like let's form a party. You know, NUMSA formed a party, they called it socialist, and they did not make it, even one seat in parliament. And then debilitating to form a political party. What is the strategic thing that inform the SACP to go it alone? We will get that report from Congress. We've got delegates there. But that debate must be driven by strategy. To say we form this arrangement in order, because of coalition arrangement, to strengthen the alliance. When I was Youth League, comrades, I used to say things about leaders that were unpalatable. You know, when you say you contest to a conference, you say a comrade is a sellout, and that comrade you point at that is a sellout get to be elected. You must now go back to the people and convince them that I bendidlala nje. Uyabona mos banotsala iivideo zam nami ezakudala ndithetha uMarhashule kakubi. Of course ibiyinyani into bendithetha ngoMarhashule. So ndisithi hey uMarhashule this and that wanyulwa uMarhashule waba ngu-SG kwafuneka ndimncome ngoku. Ndaxakana nento ukuthi hey comrade Marhashule ndizawuthi yi-revolutionary njani. UCyril besimculela ingoma yamakapitani sithi asimfuni sithetha izinto nditsho yena isiqu sakhe sangena eNazareth sineshori ukuthi asizamqumza yo akanyulwanga umuntu. Wathi upresident wami ngoku wandibizela ecaleni comrade Nobhala wandiculela ingoma kaBrenda Fassie ndivele omthuka ngapha kwenye caucus wathi comrade Mbax is up. Uyamazi uBrenda Fassie laa ngoma ethi sumbulala umuntu ngoba uzomdinga. Hey sibabili sijongene emehlweni andazi ndicela uxolo kanye ndithini. Ndithi hey andiyayazi laa ngoma athi no ndiyakucebisa suyenza loo nto msapote unkosazana but sumsapota ngale ndlela yothuka thina nathi singamaqabani kulo mbutho. Jonga xa kagqiba ukonyulwa pha iintloni zam ndaya kuye wathi ndikuxelele ndabona mosi isiti yami imkile napha lo chap izawuba ngupresident. Nyani ndasuswa ndinguminister strong wamapolisa ndileqa izikrelemnqa but ndasuswa ngesophistication yokuthi yorun i-election eluthuli house ndandiqonda ndiyanyiswa ndiyapha ndiyabethwa nje apha but andibethwa rough ndibethwa kamandi. No comrade Mbax sithembe wena usuka nini nithembe mna yabethwa nje apha kwafakwa uBhekikele wayehambela phezulu ndimbona uyilinde nyani le nto. Wangena pha waba nguminister ndandiqonda ndijongene nomfazi wami ndathi ndibethiwe ndaxola comrades ndathi anyway ezisithi mos asozethu bendiyibolekiwe noba ndibethwe ngendlela ezinjani but mandixola ayoyam le nto. But bandikhumbula nami sendingeka ukuthi eyi ingathi siyisuse ngemistake la chef bandibuyisa ndingunobhala namhlanje. So ndizama ukuthi comrades ndaqasilwa apha embuthweni i-Communist Party iraiser into zayo masingalwi ngokucinga ingathi we are enemies. Uyithuke i-ANC ingathi iyafana ne-DA. Uyithuke I can't be wrong comrades, I repeat to you, to raise strategic questions. Ayikho. The nature of our revolution allows that. As long as ungayipolitikela ukuthi comrade Mbax hayi ndicinga niyathengisa nanti perspective yami ungayenzi loo nto uyibulala i-ANC after 6 months uyocela abantu ukuthi mabayivotele ucela abasebenzi ukuthi mabayivotele abasebenzi bakubuza ujikephi but abasebenzi funeka ubakhokhele ngeperspective eright ukuthi ugovernment njengomqashi kwezinye indawo uyasicinezela singabasebenzi akho nto irongo kuloo nto comrades ndandipha eDepartment of Transport ndifika pha abasebenzi bathi bazawukhala amatapile wam ngerazor bese i-memorandum kum that emadoda amatapile wamaqhawulwa nge-razor. My own comrades dothukile but ithatha i-memorandum bathi suthuka man asizuwaqhawula namhlanje lungisa qha uyabona bematsha phala ama-comrades bendizile and bangixelela bathi minister suthumela uDG sifuna wena endaya pha ndifaka itayi ngeshori bathi besingazi ukuncoma kaloku sizawaqhawula mhlekazi thatha nathi memorandum. Now loo nto kukuthi ndingumqashi mos mna ndinguminister ndingumqashi iprasa ziphantsi kwam aninawuya kubasebenzi nismayila becinezelwe eprasa. So comrades xa nibuya kubo nithi demands zenu they have been met, it is because of their struggles. And urhulumente unimamele we-ANC whatever you will say it's because of your struggles. Masingalwi ingati there is no tomorrow. If we no longer need each other we can fight like that. Comrades, asifuni GNU, asifuni i-DA. Phansi nge-GNU phansi. Phambili nge-ANC Tripartite Alliance phambili. Ekugqibeleni ke comrades, we agreed with comrades that it may be because there is GNU, its content must be defined by the Tripartite Alliance. Going forward, because lento xa singayi-inform in terms of its content izawulahleka. Anditsho ukuthi abanye bethu abathengisi, abanye bethu kule revolution isikuyo yogalela ebhayini kukho into umuntu umjongile nje ukuthi alo akasayingeni into yozabalaza. Le comrade imnandi le vele ithi xa idibana nabantu abazabalazayo ibabona ingathi bayanuka yathi hayi bayadika abantu abo angabi nevalo noba nevalo. So umzabalazo uyacenceshelwa. This thing is nourished because some of us might believe that we have arrived, but we are held accountable by the strategy and tactics of our movement. And that is what I've outlined here. The strategy and tactics doesn't say to us we struggle for compromises in terms of GNU, Grand Coalition and all of that. The strategy and tactics says to us, don't safeguard power, protect it and remain in power forever in order to realize a free, non-racial, democratic, non-sexist, prosperous South Africa. That's what it says. So when you are faced with uncharted waters, where you have not achieved your strategic goal of remaining in power forever, what do? You then embark on tactical maneuvers, which in themselves, they are not permanent, but they can be permanent if ever yourself as a movement, you don't use the setback to advance. If we don't use the 40%, 6 million people who have voted for us in the GNU to advance the cause and undermine transformation, the setback will deepen. But abantu bakuthi abaninzi babo ngokubayabona ukuthi hayi enye into le. Why singavotelwa ngabantu comrades esibanikeza into ezingaka and all of that singurhulumente si-intervene ezimpilweni zabo ebunzimeni? You must ask yourself that question. It's fundamental. Umbeki uthi isupporters ze-ANC azivote and injawunjoku azivoteli abanye abantu sihlale ekhaya. Abayi bayovote bayahlala nje ixesha lovote. If bebevoteli opposition ngesebudala saphumayo, i-majority comrade isekweli cala lethu ayikakanyukeli kwela cala. Ayikho kumalema, ayikho kuzuma, ayikho ku-DA. Uzuma uthi urojiwe kwezi election. Asimazi uzibone phi lonto le. Uthi besibambile 2/3 majority. Sirojiwe baba. sirojiwe 2/3. Asikakayeki lento, siyabuya ngayo. Utsho njalo. Abantu abarojiweyo mna ndicinga sithi. But asithethi lonto, sithethela phansi. Athina sityelwe etafuleni straight. Ngoba sinalento yethu yokuthi siphethe. Abantu bethu bafikile phaa ezikhwini. Babuyela emakhaya, bayosela utywala because kuthiwa kuphuka umtshini. Abafikayo phaa asibafundisanga ukuthi no kukwitshintsho kule election xa ungahlali kule ndawo uhlala kuyo uregister kuyo awuzuvumeleka uvota kwenye indawo. Bajikisa kwezinye indawo bavumelwa uvota. Kwezinye indawo kutshiwo. But abantu bakuthi abaninzi baqhele laa nto mos abayazi lento ebhaloti ezi-3 ukuthi ndiyavota apha. Xa kafika phaa kuthi awuveli. Umntu ufowuna ncame. Ndilapha ndizovota kuthiwa andivoti but kule election idlulileyo ndivotile apha. Akayi-understand loo nto. Kuthi umthetho utshintshile. Abantu batyhafa bagoduka. Bayohlala emakhaya abavota. Yaba kuphela kwethu. So comrades, siyi-ruling party asinawukhalela ezo zinto. Simisi election sithi no asiyiphezulu naphansi. Xa niraise ii-concerns zenu siyaziva. But nathi we are engaging strategically. Asihambi sityhoboza ebumnyameni. So ndiyabulela kwi-SATAWU ngosibiza apha. Xa ndigqibelisa ukuthi nathi sizosherisha iimvo zethu nani basebenzi. Ndibulela kakhulu uMaqabane nembeko enisinike yona. Enkosi. Amandla. Viva SATAWU, viva. Mata. Thank you very much. Enkosi. Thank you, President.